to another episode of Getting to Know Bend. I'm Annie Law with Angle and Volkers, and today I'm here with Miranda Kelton, who is a photographer here in Bend. We're at her studio now. So, hi Miranda, how's it going?
Good. I'm very excited we were able to make this happen, and
Me too.
you have a perfect space to film this video in.
Exactly.
So.
It's a cute little
being
studio.
in a studio. Yeah. It's nice.
Nice lighting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Miranda, tell us, how did you get started?
It was kind of a long journey. I'll try to do a concise explanation, but I always wanted to be in a creative field. I just didn't really know what sort of creative field I was going to end up in. So I had a bunch of little like micro careers, I guess, if you will, where I thought like, oh, you know, I'll be a musician, or I'll be a painter, or I'll be, you know, I'll be in hair and makeup, or I'll do something in film. And I went to school for graphic design, and after about a year of being in the graphic design program, I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this.
Not for you.
Yeah, so I dropped out and started doing different things, and I'd always really enjoyed photography. I was definitely like that kid in high school that had the camera and was just the annoying one, like taking pictures of everything. But I didn't really think about it as a career until I was probably in like my very late teens. And I realized that I really enjoyed taking pictures of nature, and then of people, of friends. I would take self-portraits of myself. So the more I started doing photography, I realized that this could be a career where I could do a whole bunch of different creative things. It didn't have to be just me taking photos. I could also be, you know, doing fashion work and picking out outfits people were wearing, and doing the hair and makeup, and doing the sets and the color work, and even a little bit of like graphic design-esque things.
Bring that in.
So it ended up being a really good career for me because I felt like I could use all these different creative skills and not get bored or be, you know, just confined to one thing.
Totally, yeah. It's great to bring them all together and still have that creative way to...
Yeah, that's what really drew me to it. Was I felt like this is a career where I won't get bored, whereas if I chose to be a hairstylist or something else, I feel like I would get bored.
Yeah, you're stuck to one thing.
Yeah, so. And even when I was a kid, I had all these different little like craft phases I would go through where I'd be really into making soap, and then like I'd be like done with soap and be like, I'm really into bracelets now. So it kind of continued into adulthood, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. When I noticed on your website you do talk a lot about personal branding.
Yes.
So can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, expand. So the personal branding is another thing that kind of was attractive to me because I had spent time doing graphic design, and I learned a lot about recognizing aspects, like recognizable aspects of a brand, and how to, you know, look at a company and make a logo for them and a set of colors and all these sorts of things. And then in the past, I don't know, 5 years, especially with, you know, social media being so important, it's very much a world where you can just like have your headshot and like go on your way, but it doesn't really make you stand out that much anymore. People are needing that entire catalog of content that's specific to them and their business to use for their websites and their social medias and all their different marketing things. So personal branding is really, really interesting because you can meet with a business or with an individual, who any career really, and talk to them and say, okay, tell me like where your content holes are, like why are you needing photos, what is it that you need, and then you can go through their entire branding identity, which, you know, depending on the size of the company and how new they are, may be like really established or maybe not so much, and you can talk about their mood and their vibe and their brand colors and put together a full plan of photos you can do for them in their place of business, with their employees, with their product, whatever it is. So they have this really special set of photos that they can use for their marketing. And in a nutshell, that's kind of personal branding photography, which is it's one of those things people talk about a lot on like LinkedIn and whatever. Personal brand, and everyone's like, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is. But people overcomplicate it a little bit. It literally just means like how you show up in your business uniquely. You know, some people have businesses where it's more centered on them and their personality, and some people have businesses where it's more, you know, focused on their service and product. But regardless of where that focus is, you can find a way to put your unique like selling proposition and personality into your marketing, so that way your ideal client sees that and is attracted to it, and you don't kind of blend into looking like every other realtor or lawyer or whatever it is out there.
And like you said, anyone can use it. Everyone should use it, because it's so much better than just a logo or just a headshot. So I think that's great that you help people out with that. That's
it makes
awesome.
a really big difference, because social media especially is so saturated that if you're like scrolling through and everybody has the same little like sort of photo, it doesn't always like stand out very much. So whenever I meet with businesses, we work really hard to make a mixture of like, okay, maybe you do want some more classic headshots or things like that, but what are some creative things we can mix in there too, to kind of show what makes you different from other businesses and why somebody should engage with your business instead of, a competitor.
Yeah, and that's a way you can bring in your creativity again, it's different than the standard.
It's really fun. I get to make like full sets for people, do like all kinds of stuff. It can be really, really fun.
Cool, awesome. So what are your goals for the next 5 years?
I feel like I knew the answer to that question a little better a couple years ago, but I mean, it's happening right now. Just having the studio is new as of this year, so that's definitely always been a big goal for me, was to have my own space. So I'd love to branch out and have a bigger space and be somewhere where there's more flexibility to work with larger groups, since this is a smaller space. So definitely a bigger space one day. I'd love to start working with bigger businesses. Doing bigger shoots, because right now I work with a lot of small businesses, which is really great, and I love working with the small businesses, but I'd like to branch out and start working with some larger ones as well. But I mean, 5 years from now, anything could happen. We'll see. I'm very much a make goals, but don't get overly attached to them either, because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. That's good. That's a good way to think about it.
Just growing and getting better and being a better photographer too. Always learning new things.
Good. And so how long have you been in Bend?
I haven't been in Bend that long. It's been a little over a year.
Okay.
That I've been here. I moved here kind of mid-pandemic. I was in Portland before, and just was tired of being in Portland. Wanted to be somewhere else. I had some friends here and some other friends that were moving here, and so they kind of talked me into it. But I love it here. It's a much better fit for me than Portland. But I still do go back in the summers, maybe like once a month or twice a month for shoots.
It's close enough.
It's close enough. I don't like driving over there in the winter, but
definitely
the summer is fine. It's quick.
Awesome. And so what do you do in your free time?
My free time, I do photography, but when I am doing something that's not like work related, I really enjoy being outside. So lots of hiking, lots of camping. I have a really great group of people that I like to go camping and hiking with, and just being outside. I used to do a lot of landscape work when I was first starting, just taking pictures of mountains and birds and rivers and
do you ever combine the two with people and landscapes?
Which is actually one of my favorite things to do. I love the studio work, but one of my favorite things ever is taking people out to a landscape and just like letting that be part of the entire vision that we're working on for that person or that project. So
especially in Bend, so many people are rooted in nature and hiking and the outdoors. So
which is part of why I really like it here. People are very outdoorsy. I really enjoy that.
Very active. In all seasons of the year, really.
Which is very cool.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, and finally, what advice would you have for someone who's thinking of taking up photography?
So much advice.
Where to begin?
Where to begin? I think it's really easy to be in a place where you're a beginner and you're trying to learn, and you go online and you're Googling how do I do this and how do I do that and what about this and this, and there's so much education online now, which is great, but it can also be really overwhelming.
Totally.
And there's also a lot of bad advice as well. Like just people who aren't fully educated, or they're teaching and they're not like fully qualified to be teaching what it is they're teaching, which kind of is true in any sort of career. But just everything with a grain of salt, honestly. It can be really easy to get not only overloaded with like, oh, here's the legal things I should be doing, and here's all the stuff that I should know, and what about the gear, and what about this? Just keeping it as simple as possible for as long as you can. I think don't get too caught up in, oh, I need the latest and greatest, or I will be successful unless I have the hair and makeup person and the professional model and the, you know, the fancy studio in town. It's like, no, you can, I was literally taking photos like in the corner of my little, like very tiny house that I was renting, like when I first started out. You don't need all the crazy stuff right away. It's really possible to build a good business without having the most fancy, expensive stuff.
And I mean, even iPhones these days, you can do
there's
so much.
Like, you just let your creativity come through and don't be afraid to ask for help from people who, you know more and are further along in the journey. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I could probably go on a long time about this, but it really is like
that goes into it.
So much trial and error too. Like, don't expect to be perfect right away. I'm a perfectionist, and I would always still get really frustrated when I try to learn something new and it's not quite at the level that I want it to be. You have to look at it and be like, okay, I did this thing. Like, I did it. We're going to call it good. We're going to come back to this later when I'm less frustrated and like try to do it a little better the next time. And that's kind of how you proceed.
Yeah, step by step.
Yeah. Being patient is really important, I think.
Totally.
Yeah.
Good. All right, Miranda. Well, thanks for meeting with me today.
Of course.
It's so nice to hear more about your business and you know, your take on it. And thank you for having me in the studio. It's so cute.
Anytime. Yeah, I'm really glad we were able to make it happen.
Yeah. So. And I'm sure you have an Instagram, right?
Oh, yes. I have, my website is mirandakelton.com, and then my Instagram is just Miranda Kelton Photo.
Perfect.
As is my Facebook. So yeah, people can follow me on there and
awesome.
See what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Always something going on.
Good. Always busy.
Yeah. Always something.
Awesome. So make sure to follow her on Instagram, check out her website, and also like and subscribe to parkbench.com/bend. Thanks, guys. Bye.